big night out.
Stadium, the setting for so many great sporting occasions, Olympic Games, Cup finals and World Cup finals, but tonight playing host for the very first time to a World Heavyweight Championship fight. Frank Bruno against Tim Witherspoon for the WBA title. In due course, well over 40,000 people will be here, the biggest crowd ever to assemble for boxing in this country. And at ringside, many famous faces will be here, perhaps the most famous of them all. Former fighters working for BBC Radio. It's celebrities all the way. We know what she means. Even the ladies are here. Well, at lunchtime today, the two men who will do battle in around an hour and a half from now came face to face at the weigh-in for the fight. Bruno was a magnificent-looking 16 stone 3, round about the weight one would have expected. But Witherspoon shocked the crowd, weighing in at 16 stone 10. In fact, he was very nearly 16 stone 11, and they reckon that's something like 10 pounds heavier than his normal fighting weight. Well, the fighters arrived here at Wembley a few hours ago. It was still daylight, and Bruno, well, he looked full of confidence. He's probably a little edgy inside. This is the most important night of his life, and he was mobbed all the way. Witherspoon, despite his apparent weight problems, carrying a lot of excess round his stomach, is full of confidence, and it may just be that he's taking Bruno just a little bit lightly. Well, now, nearly 12 hours on, their night's work still some time away. Bruno and the champion Witherspoon prepare themselves. Bruno occupies the dressing room that the England football team favour, incidentally. It's from that dressing room that they went out and won the World Cup here 20 years ago. These pictures taken just a few seconds ago, and absolutely necessary that Bruno goes out there warmed up. Witherspoon, he's done a lot of arm raising over the last few weeks since he's been here, but he doesn't look in great condition. But you've never seen a champion more relaxed than that. Well, good evening to you. In the next half hour or so, we'll be assessing Bruno's chances of lifting the heavyweight title, hearing from the champion himself, and meeting some of the leading personalities congregating for this big fight occasion. Well, Harry Carpenter's getting all set down at ringside. Henry Cooper, who shot the then Cassius Clay in this very arena 23 years ago, will be giving us his verdict too. And Barry McGuigan, who knows all about strength-sapping occasions like this, for championship fighters here. Evening, Barry, nice to see you. And here's a lady who's got away from Dirty Den to talk to nice, clean Des tonight. Anita Dobson, one of Bruno's biggest fans, and Big Frank tells me that the feeling is entirely mutual, incidentally.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, Frank Bruno is already a much-loved and respected sportsman in this country, but can you imagine what the next 24 hours will be like for him if he can actually win the championship? If Frank Bruno is in this restaurant in the early hours of tomorrow morning, you can bet we'll be celebrating a British World Heavyweight Champion. With the timing of this fight, it'll be breakfast with Bruno, and some breakfast that would be. British claims to any glory in the heavyweight division up to now are tenuous, to say the least. Bob Fitzsimmons went to New Zealand as an infant and won the title in 1897 as a U.S. citizen.
He can't hurt Farr, and Farr lets him know that, and Farr jumps into him, and he's crashing blows at Lewis. Farr's jumping at Lewis, bombarding Lewis with blows. There's the bell for the end of the fight.
That challenge by Tommy Farr and Henry Cooper's effort 3 years after he first shook Muhammad Ali here are two of the more memorable chapters in Britain's heavyweight title story since.
Right on the bell has sounded, and he's up at about 3, Clay.
This little chap would have been blissfully unaware of Cooper's challenge, but he's developed into the most awesome-looking heavyweight ever produced in this country. And Bruno's attitude and the manner in which he conducts himself have already marked him as special.
I believe in God, you know, everybody's got someone to believe in. Pray every night. I don't go to church every Sunday. I just pray to God every night to be heavyweight champion of the world. That's what I pray.
Bruno's clean-cut image, his plain niceness out of the ring, as much as the mayhem he causes in it, has made him one of Britain's most popular sportsmen of all time. Even without a championship to his name, Big Frank has been able to claim undisputed celebrity status.
Right, and he looks very big as well, doesn't he, Harry? You haven't seen him? No, I saw him in training today. He looked very sharp, very good.
Now, you've had just one defeat in your professional career. Do you think it's possible that out there tonight you might just suffer a second?
Well, I've just got to keep running. Just keep running, Harry.
But still, Ryan Stobie comes for him. Oh, he's got him on the chin.
And Frank has shown time and again he can go the distance in any chat show contest.
So what started you in boxing? Was it to defend yourself in the schoolyard or what?
I wanted to make some money, Tel. Somewhere, I weren't a solicitor or I weren't a talker like yourself on the radio, on the television, so I had to use my body to make something of my life instead of robbing banks or something like that. So.
And at comedy, well, he's definitely a knockout.
Juliet, Juliet, Juliet. Oh, Romeo, oh, Romeo. I haven't seen these since the weigh-in. Oh, Romeo. He is my lady, he is my love. Oh, to hold her hand inside that glove. Behold her girlish frame, so graceful and so slender.
Bruno has captured the imagination of the British public, even those for whom boxing normally is of little interest. And the purveyors of pop are never slow to join the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm a great music fan. I love music. That's what keeps me going. I can listen to anything that you can polish your foot on the dance floor, or tap your toes to, anything that makes my toes click, I can listen to.
Bruno is a star who mixes with the stars, and even his GBH on the English language has produced a kind of cult following.
How long did it take you to get over the effects of that punch? What punch was that?
Cagey customer, you know? You'll have to be a special human being to really beat me that night.
Bruno has got to be the hardest hitting heavyweight in the world today, and he just proved it.
Where's Harry? On July the 19th, I'm going to be the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Bruno then is already heavyweight champion in the personality stakes. Heaven knows how famous he'll become if he can lift the title. You know what he means?
Hey, listen, I want you to watch my fight on BBC with Des and Harry, if you know what I mean.
We're all getting a little nervous here, aren't we, about what's going to happen. How long have you been a fight fan? I suppose, well, you actually are an East End girl, aren't you?
Oh, so, yes, through and through. And my father's a great boxing fan.
Yes.
And a lot of good fighters came from the East End. So Frank Bruno is fighting not just for a title, but for everybody who wants to win.
Are you getting a little edgy about getting down and looking? You're not one of these women now who gets up and sort of...
Well, it's the first time I've been to a match, so I don't know, but I feel as if I might be.
I think you're going to be.
I hope he wins.
Yeah. Barry, good to see you. How are you feeling now after the battle in
I'm
Las
resting
Vegas?
at the minute, and I'm back to my normal self again. Put a bit of weight on, and you know, as I say, taking things easy. But I'm over here looking forward to a great fight and looking forward to a Bruno win.
Just before we mention that, you're looking forward to a Bruno win. But what about yourself? Are you going to fight again?
Well, at this stage I'm resting, and I'm going to be taking a long time to make a decision. I think that decisions made in haste are the wrong decisions, so I'm going to take a long time and
Well, you made one in
discuss it with
haste,
my
and you're
family.
going to sit back and relax for a while.
Yeah, I'm going
and
to
think
relax
about
for a
it.
while.
Good for you. Now, what about this? You reckon a Bruno knockout victory here tonight?
Well,
is that influenced by the weight that Witherspoon showed at the weigh-in, do you think?
It certainly isn't health matters. I mean, Witherspoon is one of these people who are weights inclined to fluctuate, and I believe that he's probably at his best around 15-12, 15-11. Having looked at his record very carefully, he fought. Apparently, he fought around 15-10 or a little bit less than that when he fought Pinklon Thomas for the title, and he lost the title to him, yet he beat Tony Tubbs in his last battle. But Tubbs looked well out of condition too, so I'm just not sure. I feel that Bruno's power has got to be the decisive matter. In the early rounds, if he lands with a clean punch, he can win the fight early.
We'll talk a little more in due course. Well, the bookmakers see Bruno as a slight favourite to win tonight. It's absolutely unprecedented for a British challenger to go into a heavyweight title fight favoured to beat an American champion. But Witherspoon, despite actually having 3 fights fewer than Bruno in the professional ring, is vastly more experienced when it comes to championship bouts. He'd already won and lost the WBC version of the title before he became WBA champion. And as a professional, he's never been knocked off his feet or stopped. This is his 5th world title fight tonight. He's been down this road before.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
141 for the winner and new heavyweight champion of the world, Tim Witherspoon has won it.
Tim Witherspoon is a confident man. It's not surprising for someone who grew up in Philadelphia, a city that's been home to more heavyweight champions than anywhere else.
When I step out that ring tonight, that belt's going to be around my waist because that belt belongs to me.
Like most American heavyweights, Witherspoon isn't short of an answer when asked why he's special.
I don't, intelligent, strong, punch hard, and I'm clever, if you want to say that.
Modest.
Yeah.
Witherspoon emerged in 1983 when he fought Larry Holmes to a standstill, but lost a decision everyone but the judges thought was his.
Larry Holmes is hurt. He's out of it.
Yes, he is.
Out of it.
All he's got to do.
He's out of it.
Larry Holmes. We have a minute and 30 to go.
Larry Holmes is out of it.
One more, he's going to go down.
He's out of it.
That 9th round is like a mystery to me. I could, like, next time I would fight him, it would be a heck of a lot different.
At the end of that fight, there was a shot of you where it looked as if you were expecting the decision to go your way.
Right. Because I felt as though I outpointed them. I felt as though I was the aggressor. Well, he was biting his fingernails. He was biting his fingernails and you know, nervous. He knew he lost.
A man who worried Holmes won't be worried about fighting far away from Las Vegas. Basildon in Essex has borrowed ideas from America, but somehow it's not quite the place you'd expect to find a champion's training camp. American fighters abroad usually say they're mean or bad. This one doesn't.
You want a kiss too?
I think he's lovely.
Oh, he's
So do I. Yeah. He's gorgeous. He's great. Yeah. He's lovely. Yeah, he's nice. But like a brick.
You've come over and in some ways you've tried to charm England rather than frighten us.
Right, because to me it's a sport. It's a way of life for me. I love it. I love doing interviews. I love the people that's around it. And to me, a boxing or karate is not to be used in the streets or to scare people. It's used as a sport.
Fight class.
All right. All right. The best way for you win.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice cops. Police officers. They're police officers, not cops. That's disrespectful when you say cops. Police officer.
Later tonight, however, the jokes and diplomacy will stop. The fighter will be revealed.
I'm definitely going at Frank Bruno because I know I got what it takes and what it takes to stay in there a long time. But it's up to me. It's up to me to just pursue it. So I think I'm gonna go after it this time for real.
So no championship for England or Britain.
Hey, not if I can help it. He said I'm gonna have to kill him, but he don't know he had to take the title from me.
One thing that's upset Witherspoon in England is the suggestion he's overweight and not as fit as Bruno.
I don't like all the big muscles, you know, and I don't think that in a hard fight he's gonna get tired. Believe me, with all that. If he has to fight me every round, he's gonna get tired. But if it's a fighter like Philip Brown running around, it's like a sponge. He can do that for 10 rounds, chase the guy in box. But if I punch back at him and go to the body and punch and try to back him up, he's definitely going to get tired, like you saw in the bone crushing fight.
The headlines have dwelt on Witherspoon's weight, just like they dwelt on his problems with the boxing authorities earlier this year, after it was discovered he smoked marijuana.
If they care about athletes, then help them. Don't take the title from me. Don't take my livelihood or where I could take care. I almost couldn't take care of my family because of that. You know, and then I'm still left with the problem. If I had a problem, then they take the belt, kick me out in the street, I might get killed, I might die. But if they let me stay in with the title, then we could work together, and then we could be happy, and then they could say they helped me out or did something to me.
In America, Witherspoon is clear favourite to retain his title. The Las Vegas bookies seem to share Witherspoon's view of Bruno.
Hell of a nice guy. I'll say it again, I've been saying it to all of them. He's a nice guy, and I'm gonna knock him out.
Well, let's now hear from a nice guy who knocked out a few nice guys in his time and very nearly knocked one out here all those years ago. Henry Cooper, he's down at ringside there with Harry.
Henry, you're exactly the man to talk to on a night like this, because we're back in the place where, what was it, 1963?
Yeah, was it
you fought Cassius Clay as he was then, and put him on the seat of his pants.
Yeah, it brings back pleasant memories, that, Harry. I can't really, it's funny, you come back into a time like that and you can't really remember that, Nigel. What call of you?
So we go into the next tape, do we, out of this?
Where it happened, what ropes tied him on the deck? No.
Now, you tell us, Henry, because you know better than anybody, what do you think, how is Frank Bruno feeling at this moment? It's not too long to go now before he has to come out. You've been in this position, in this very stadium.
Yeah.
How do you think he's feeling?
Well, he must now, I suppose the adrenaline now is just beginning to really flow now. You know, about an hour before is perhaps the worst time, I suppose, for a fighter. If he's, the managers, you know, they, about an hour before that, they clear all the well-wishers and all the friends and the brothers and the, you know, aunts and uncles all out the dressing room, and they want now just to basically keep him quiet, let him just, you know, do his own thing and be relaxed. And I suppose Frank now is just beginning to feel the adrenaline flow. You know, he wants now the bell, he wants to get here. He's waiting for him to be called so he can come in the ring, so that bell can go, so he can get the fight on the way. And once that happens, then you lose all that, like, bit of butterflies in the old tummy bit, but you just want to get the job of work done and done with then. Yeah.
You see, what fascinates people like me, and most people in the country, is that one punch can change your entire life, as indeed it did for you, didn't it? The fact that you put Cassius Clay on his bottom changed your life completely.
Oh, yes, quite true. I mean, it can change it in like, different ways. I mean, if you're the winner, it can, you know, you land a big punch, it can change it, it'll bring millions. And if you're on the receiving end of it, it can perhaps take a lot of money or a lot of aspirations away from you. But no, I think, you know, it's a big night. See, Frank is in the dressing room there, and if I remember rightly, every now and again you've heard the chanting goes up, Bruno, Bruno. I can remember when I was here, it was Henry, Henry. Right. And that gives you a little lift, it gives you a little boost, and you just say, yeah, let's get out there and let's get the job of work done. Yeah.
How do you think Frank's going to go in this?
Well, I've got a sneaky feeling he's going to do pretty good. You know, I think, as I've said before, if he comes out, what I'd like to see him is, you know, test the guy early on, throw some big right-hand punches early on. I mean, Witherspoon, you know, was much heavier than we all anticipated. He won't be the sharpest or the fastest things on two legs. So I think, you know, Frank, if he can, you know, come out, start fast, pick his punch, straighten him up with that left jab a little bit, and then cross that right. If he hits him, he'll go.
Let's hope so, Henry. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Big H with little h. Frank Bruno, as you know, is guided by British boxing's most successful ever management team, headed by Terry Lawless. Lawless has already produced 4 world champions, John Stracey, Jim Watt, Maurice Hope, Charlie Magri. But has he now produced a man who can win the heavyweight championship of the world?
And a right hand puts his man down, and he doesn't look as though he's going to get up. And over goes Sharkey. That was a good left hook, and it's taken everything out of Jameson. Bruno has just shown the American public what he can do with a punch.
Open your hands out.
Bruno, the sporting star everybody wants to meet, is a national celebrity, unrecognizable from the immature, naive young man of a few years ago. He's been guided all the way by Terry Lawless, and it's at Lawless's home in Essex that Frank moves to before a big fight to escape the inevitable media pursuit. How does Lawless go about his job?
Well, today, if you're going to be a sporting star, it's much like I would imagine the people that are in EastEnders these days. Suddenly from nowhere, they've become national figures, and they've got to learn how to conduct themselves. And it's very hard for a young boy who's a sportsman, and you know, he hasn't seen that side of life. And he's got to be prepared to go to a dinner and sit next to somebody, and they're going to ask his opinion on the political side of the country, and they expect him to give an opinion. So, you know, I've tried from an early stage to make him aware of the sort of questions he's going to get asked, and that he'd better listen and have some sort of an answer, even if it's only a funny one.
You were at that ABA final that he won in 1980.
With Piquet.
Yeah. What do you remember about that final?
The most vivid thing is it wasn't the greatest of fights to start with. It was a very close decision, but it was the thing that attracted me to Frank was that his will to win. He was exhausted come third round, but he was taking these big gulps of air and he was trying to get back to win. You know, most big guys, they look to hold and hide, don't they, when they get tired, but Frank was still trying to win, and that impressed me.
How did you come to meet him and talk business?
I went to his home and I met his family. Somebody asked me to go to his home and I went, and you know, I don't promise people. There is no rose garden in the boxing world. I just told him how hard it was, and I tell them all that they should look for something else if they possibly can.
Frank accepted that, but there was still a major problem. His eyesight needed correction. It involved an operation in South America. It was 2 years before he could make his professional debut in March 1982 at the Royal Albert Hall against Lupe Guerra of Mexico.
Well, by then, of course, he was really a well-known figure already because of the eye problem and the weight and a legal problem that I had. He was well known to most boxing people by then, and of course he was ABA champion. So I think, I can't remember the top of the bill that night, but I think everybody there was there as much as anything to see Frank Bruno, myself included, of course. And he could not really have done a better job, could he?
Bruno setting him up with the left jab there. Down he goes again. Well, that punch seemed to land across the top of the head. And I don't think he wants to get up from that one. And he's out.
He really didn't get a chance to see whether it was going to be tough or hard because it was over so quickly.
Now, we've talked, as far as his fights are concerned, mostly about the good times. There haven't always been good times, and we know of a couple of them. I'm thinking first of Jumbo Cummings, where Frank wobbled a bit that night, but he survived.
Yeah, he certainly was hurt, and he was lucky it was the end of the round. But I just touched his arm and he turned to the corner, and by the time he'd sat down, he knew where he was and what it was all about.
The only thing is, of course, that after the Cummings fight, where he presumably should have learned a lesson, he proved not to have learned the lesson too well against Bone Crusher, because there he had a fight which, to me, he'd won by a mile.
Yeah.
And then lost it when he shouldn't have lost it, right at the end.
And he doesn't know where he is. Smith doing a Cummings on him. And Bruno looks out on his feet to me. Oh, he's got him. Bone Crusher Smith has crushed his man.
Has it been a very valuable lesson to him?
Well, being unbeaten is always a burden. With Frank, that was on his back as well, the unbeaten record. But most of all, what it's gained Frank 2 odd years in time, because if he'd have beaten Bone Crusher, I think we'd have been in this position a year or so earlier, and he certainly wouldn't have been ready for it then.
Let's come up to date now with the fights that have led to his chance with Witherspoon. First of all, with Anders Eklund, one of the better performances, do you think?
Certainly one of the better finishes. He did it all with the right hand, and that was a good performance. Everybody expects a spectacular win from him, and thank goodness he gave him one with it.
Is he going to beat the county? I don't think he is. He's not coming up, and Bruno is the European champion, and he's made his mark in the world.
Were you as startled as I was with the way you handled Jerry Coetzee?
I couldn't say I wasn't surprised. Of course I was. I didn't expect that to happen. On reflection, I'm not surprised that he knocks anybody out quickly, because if he catches anybody, then there's a good chance he's going to knock them out.
He's got him again. He won't get up from that. He's stretched out over the photographers. He'll never make it. He's out, out, out. And Bruno is on his way to a crack at the world title.
For me, Frank is probably the fittest man in the world. He's certainly the fittest fighter I've ever seen. So much depends on how Frank handles July the 19th. I mean, I personally think he's going to cope with it because he has matured so much in the last year. He's got so sure of himself in the last year. And he has watched, for some reason or other, he's watched Witherspoon for a long, long time. He's probably got every video that there's been of Tim Witherspoon, and he has watched him for a long, long time. Almost as if he knew that one day that was going to be the big one, Tim Witherspoon. You know, I think he's going to get it right.
Well, we certainly hope so. Have you actually met Frank, Anita?
No, it's unfortunate. We've come very close to meeting on 2 or 3 occasions, but we've never actually met yet.
Oh,
so.
we'll try and introduce you later if he has a good
Hopefully if he wins, yes, he must.
Certainly. And what's all this about him naming one of his pets after you?
Well, I believe, so rumour hath it,
Yes.
that he's named his dog after me, which I'm
But
sure
not
is meant as
after
a
your
compliment.
character,
Yes.
after Angie.
After Angie,
Yeah, that is a compliment,
I hope so.
yeah.
I'm sure my on-screen husband would approve.
Now, Barry, final assessment.
I'll try to keep it brief. I see 2 results to the fight. I think that either Frank will win early on, first 3 rounds if he lands properly, and he's got tremendous power, or else it'll be a points decision for Witherspoon.
Bruno had come a long way from his wayward boyhood, an amateur title at 18, subsequent eye surgery to allow him to box as a professional, and a startling progression to the status of superstar. Here now was his night of destiny, and there was barely a soul present who wasn't longing for his victory. Tim Witherspoon, who'd weighed in at a mammoth 16 stone 10, 7 pounds heavier than Bruno, was no match for the British fighter in muscle tone, but what he had on his side was experience. This would be his 5th World Championship fight. Remarkably, he would enter the ring as a slight betting underdog. At ringside was Harry Carpenter.
And now, the start of what could be 15 rounds for the WBA Heavyweight Championship. The greatest moment of Bruno's life, and most certainly the greatest moment comes now for British boxing for many a long year. The referee is Cedro Rodriguez from Venezuela, who refereed Barry McGuigan and Bernard Taylor in Belfast in September last year. Well, Bruno was totally undisturbed by all the staring and all the flag wagging that was going on. He looks calm and composed, and we hope alert. Is this the big night for Bruno? And Witherspoon comes straight out punching. A quick, aggressive start by Witherspoon, and Bruno goes to the belly. Witherspoon has a reputation of being an awkward, mauling type of fighter, and you might try to get close. And this has gone off at a very fast pace for 2 big men. That's a good jab from Bruno. He has some 6 inches in reach advantage. He has an 82-inch reach, Bruno. And Witherspoon, after the initial onslaught, slowed down a little. Good punch to the body from Witherspoon. Bruno looked a little wild when he came in close, as though he was anxious to get inside for a moment. Again, the left hook and the right from Witherspoon. And Witherspoon is finding Bruno fairly easy to get at in these opening moments. Good attack by Bruno. Witherspoon's covered up, shows the top of his head and laughs. Good left hook downstairs from Bruno. Concentrating hard. And Bruno's moving well. Big, wide, swinging, ugly punch from Witherspoon. Good combination by Bruno. Looking sharp and relaxed. It's a close opening round. Witherspoon will do a lot of this, I think, closing inside, slipping inside. These two already are feeling the weight of each other's punches. Witherspoon's blowing already at the end of the first round, and he winks at Bruno as the British challenger, the European champion, returns to his corner. And that is a very, very brisk start indeed, and Bruno handled himself well.
Second up, round 2.
Good left hand by Bruno. And Witherspoon has never been put down as a pro, never stopped. He can take a punch, and it's beginning to look as though he may have to take one or two. Witherspoon blinking. I think he was disturbed by that first left hand. And Bruno's mixing his punches well to head and body. Witherspoon dangerous with the swinging right hand. And Witherspoon, an angry attack, as though he's disturbed. Bruno losing nothing in the clinch. Bruno surely must be the fitter man of the two. Bruno's most dangerous moments, it seems to me, come when he's attacking. He has to leave himself a little open to throw the punch. But he's really handling himself well, Frank, inside. He's showing a maturity here, which I don't think I've quite seen before. And he's pushing Witherspoon away as though he weighs nothing. Another right-hand bomb from Bruno on the top of Witherspoon's head. Witherspoon's mouth has been open now for a round. Really going for it. That's a good right from Bruno. And Witherspoon staggers. Round 2. Bruno not sure whether to go in or not. He's cautious. He certainly heard his man. He didn't follow up. But he's clearly boxing to orders to take no chances. Meanwhile, Witherspoon's getting his breath back and getting his jab to work. Bruno trying to do it all correctly and risking nothing. That was a good round from Bruno. He certainly won that one. Here we are from our overhead camera. Let's see this punch from Bruno. Hit him well with a good left, dug him underneath, and then that one on the top of the head.
Round 3.
And Witherspoon comes out open-mouthed again, as though he's having trouble breathing. Now can Bruno keep this good work together? Good punches, good attacks by Bruno, taking the initiative.
taking the play away from the champion. Witherspoon trying to keep the points coming with the jabs. Good left hook from Witherspoon. Left hook is a danger punch from this man. He's won many fights with his left hook. Good right, and that hurt Bruno. This is an angry fight. They mean business. Good right from Bruno. Bruno's mouth looking a little sore. Bruno's mouth is cut, I think. Bruno putting in some of his best punches, and Witherspoon not giving. And to get those punches in, Frank was having to take some as well. And he's taking them well. And what a challenge Bruno is putting up for this championship. He's got the champion on the ropes. Again, not too sure whether to go in close. Meanwhile, Bruno's lip bleeds. Bruno not averse to having a bit of a maul. Two good punches from Witherspoon. Bruno looking a little puzzled at the moment. He's hit him with good punches and he hasn't gone. Another good combination attack by Bruno, who takes the punch as he comes inside. What a furious battle this is. 3 rounds, tremendous fighting. Well, I've got Barry McGuigan, our former world featherweight champion, sitting in the ringside. What do you think of it, Barry? It's a furious
absolutely
fight.
Tremendous heavyweight fight. Very, very exciting from the word go. I like the way Bruno's handling himself. Well, I'm a bit worried that the fight's gone over 3 rounds. I predicted that Frank would nail him early on, but I think it can be anybody's fight at this stage.
A truly tremendous championship fight because they've gone away like a couple of featherweights rather than a couple of heavyweights. Remember, these two men between them weigh close on 33 stone. Remember, Witherspoon gave Larry Holmes a really hard world title fight in his earlier days. And Witherspoon's in trouble on the ropes under a big attack from Bruno. How fit is Witherspoon? Everything may depend on this. He looks grossly overweight. Can he go a long fight? Bruno's one of the fittest men in the game. But he hasn't quelled the champion yet. Good attack by Witherspoon. Witherspoon back in his own corner now. Can Bruno nail him with one very good punch? He's so hard to get at. And Bruno can't get leverage for his punches inside. Now Witherspoon's beckoning him to come on in. He prefers it close in. And Frank walks unconcernedly back to his corner as we go in to look at Witherspoon, this man who weighs 16 stone 10 3/4. And a swelling coming up at the side of the left eye. And indeed, apparently on the side of the right as well. fair to say that Bruno's taken some of Witherspoon's best punches and stood up to him well. The pace, the early pace is told on both of them already. Here we are in the 5th, and already the pace has slowed right down. You can hardly wonder at it. The first round was fought at a most amazing pace. Now the action slows a little. They gather their breath. Good left from Witherspoon. If Bruno can get his jab going and keep it going solidly in Witherspoon's face, he can pile up a lot of points, and at the same time, he could really tire this man. Witherspoon, the tough street fighter from Philadelphia. And the great ringing cry for Bruno comes up from these 40 or 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium. Nearly 1:30 in the morning, and the place singing its head off. Good right downstairs again, slightly lower the fault from Witherspoon. Quiet round for Bruno. Looks as though he's trying to work out exactly what he should do here, but he's taking an awful lot of belts to the body. And Witherspoon still walking through this massive left jab that Bruno puts in his face. Well, I should think they've done enough. They've done enough already to earn each other's respect. What would you say, Barry?
Oh, this is the most competitive heavyweight fight I've seen probably since the days of Muhammad Ali. They're both in tremendous shape. I think, without doubt, Bruno looks much more fit than Witherspoon.
And you sit on the edge of your seat and you wonder what's going to happen next. I've got him dead level. Slight smear of blood from Bruno's nose. Bruno's got to keep him backed up. Bruno might have to start thinking in terms of outboxing him rather than out-punching him. Big swinging attack again by Witherspoon, who's walking through the Bruno punches now. He looked disturbed by them early on. Now he's coming on through them. Bruno's mouth a little more damaged, but still boxing a good controlled fight and doing plenty of work. He's such a hard man to get with a good solid punch. Drank through a good left hook then, and the man slipped his head inside it easily. So it's turning into now, Barry, what looks like a very close and very grueling fight for the pair of them. That's very true, Harry. It looks like it's going to be a survival of the fittest. I like Bruno's boxing ability. It's really good. That's a sharp right hand from Witherspoon, which slipped off very thankfully.
Second up, round 7.
So already gone further than a lot of people expected. badly now needs the sort of punch that will really put a bit of fear into Witherspoon. If you can do that. Wild with his right hands. It's very, he really doesn't, to be fair, he doesn't look like a good world champion Witherspoon. He's far too wild and wide with his punches. A very, very strong man, and he's cut slightly Witherspoon underneath the left eye now. His left hook is a better punch, I think, than his right hand, frankly. His right's altogether too wild. Good attack by Bruno. But once again, Witherspoon takes it and comes back with perhaps a slightly better attack. And he's hurting Bruno with punches to the head. Round 7. These are uncomfortable moments for the British challenger. He's under fire and backing up and taking punches. Trying to stay inside and keep out of trouble, Bruno. He's feeling the pace now. Witherspoon most definitely on top at this moment. And Bruno brings 2 good punches out of the bag when he most needed them. What a tough fight this is. These two are going to go on like this till one of them drops. Not too much in the punches of Bruno now. He's been hurt again, getting caught by too many head punches. Not a good round for Bruno. Walks back slowly to the corner. He's not badly hurt, but he's been roughed up with a few head punches there. Well, he put together a good attack, Bruno, here, and then straight away, Witherspoon came back with this attack, and it was a much better one than Frank had landed. Witherspoon put together a lot of good punches in this, and he began to catch Frank quite solidly to the head. And these were very disturbing moments for the British challenger. And now Witherspoon's got a swelling coming up underneath the left eye. A mouse, it's called in the trade, showing quite visibly. Well, if Witherspoon's left eye shuts, and it's threatening to do that, that will be a very, very big plus indeed for Bruno. And we're rapidly approaching the halfway mark. 7.5 rounds will signal the halfway stage. And Witherspoon's work has slowed down. Good right from Bruno. And Witherspoon didn't know what to do about it. Round 8. If this does come down to the amount of work done in the gym, then Bruno will win. Good right from Witherspoon over the top. Witherspoon storming through again. Bruno trying to get inside to stay safe. Somehow Bruno has to stand off to try and get a good shot at him, which he's finding hard. But what a fight he's putting up.
Witherspoon, but he's making it pay. Good left hook, Witherspoon. Bruno again getting roughed up in this round. And not too much behind the arms of Bruno now. He's not really punching with any weight. He's just trying to keep the man away from him. And Witherspoon's coming storming on again in the 8th round. The fight, round by round, getting tougher and tougher for Bruno. Bruno finding it very hard now to raise a big punch. And he puffs hard and he looks at Witherspoon as much as to say, what sort of man are you? I hit you with all my best punches and you've never looked like going down. But the danger to Witherspoon is the lump that's coming up underneath the left eye, the lump they're now trying to squeeze out with that iron. Well, Barry, what do you think? It's got a little rough for Frank now.
Well, what impresses me about Bruno is he's taken some good shots and still come fighting back. And as you say, very truthfully, he's become much stronger at taking the shot. He's able to fight on the retreat, which is very impressive in this fight. And I think he's doing very, very well. Witherspoon has hit him with some tremendous shots in this round, but got very frustrated because he couldn't put him away. So, it's all on the line at this stage. It's all or nothing. Oh, the best of luck to Frank.
A war of attrition it's become. Round 9 coming up.
Round 9.
Back they come into this hard, almost savage heavyweight championship fight, which went off at a tremendous pace and slowed down now into a cruel and grueling battle of strength and determination. Witherspoon has been absolutely drenched with water. His trunks are dripping water. 2 good punches from Bruno. Now if he can still bring those out of the bag, he's in with a real chance again. Witherspoon's hanging on inside and looks desperately tired. You do get the feeling that if Bruno could just put 2 or 3 really hard punches together, anything could happen to Witherspoon. Again, Witherspoon comes forward with the big attack. He has this way of bringing out a really storming attack just when he looks at his worst. Staring at Bruno as though he's not really looking at him, but looking way through him at something else. That's a good right from Witherspoon. And again, Bruno takes it well, comes inside, hangs on, and fights back. What a challenge Bruno has made in this fight, and is still making, but he's under attack again. He turns his man well. What a good move, and Witherspoon's shaking his head as though he doesn't like it. And he's looking at the referee. Witherspoon suddenly looks desperately uncomfortable. Can Bruno mount a really big attack here? Because Witherspoon looks as though he's ready to be taken. The 9th round. Witherspoon looking as though it's almost too hard to summon another attack. Is he punching himself out on Bruno, I wonder? And the crowd sense it too. Up comes the great Bruno chant. And Frank's got new heart. Witherspoon trying to fight his way desperately off those ropes, looking at the referee again and again. Something he doesn't like, whether it's the head coming into his face or the body punches he's protesting are too low, I don't know, but he doesn't like it. That's a good punch from Witherspoon. And there's the bell to end the round. And Witherspoon winds up in his own corner and waves to the crowd. But there were some strange moments in that round when Witherspoon was shaking his head almost as though you felt he'd had enough.
Second bell. Round 10.
And Witherspoon lifts himself a little wearily off the stool. So here we are in the 10th. Good right and left from Witherspoon. Again, Bruno takes them well. Again, Witherspoon comes back with the champion's assault after he's taken a good punch. He's complaining about Bruno's head. Looking at the referee again. The 10th. Witherspoon now fighting with a touch of desperation. Oh, what a good strong man Witherspoon is. He takes a punch better, I think, than almost anybody I've ever seen. No wonder he's never been down as a pro. Bruno's left eye looking in some trouble. Witherspoon shaking his head again, mounting another big, furious attack. Bruno's nose bleeding. These two absolutely punching themselves out on each other. Once again they break with a long, hard stare at each other, wondering perhaps each of them what's keeping the other man up. Now then, we can see that tremendous Bruno punch here earlier in the round. Here it comes. He caught him coming in. Well, it went round the back a bit, but another one chopped down. And for a moment, Witherspoon almost looked as though he was going to go down for the first time in his professional career. And there's the Bruno family at ringside. His mother watching him fight at ringside for the first time in her life.
Round 11.
Well, not many people imagined it would ever get this far. And there are still 5 rounds to go, including this. Well, whatever happens now, Bruno has put up one of the great challenges of all time in British boxing history for the heavyweight title. Whatever happens. Good punches from Witherspoon. Still plenty of strength left there, it seems. Bruno now finding it hard to mount a big attack. Witherspoon comes forward again, plants that big left hook into the stomach of Bruno. The European champion taking it all well, still keeping his boxing together, still looking for the chance to land the big haymaker. But the pace, understandably, after those torrid 2 rounds we've just seen, the pace has come down to a crawl. These 2 men have had a tough fight. And believe me, it's all they can do to keep going now at this stage in the 11th. And still Witherspoon is picking up punches as he comes inside. Bruno's getting at him to the head. Bruno promised all of us a great fight for the championship, and he wasn't wrong. He has surpassed himself in this fight. Good punch, each of them, but Bruno's hurt more, and he's under a terrible attack in a neutral corner. And Bruno is close to defeat at this moment. He's going to go down, he's going to go down. Witherspoon's got him in the 11th round, and Bruno goes over, and Witherspoon's hit him while he's on the floor, and the towel has come in from Terry Norris. It's all over. It's all over. And Witherspoon has kept his title, and Bruno can't get up himself. He has to be hoisted by the referee in the 11th round onto his feet. It's all over. And once again, a British challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world has failed, but it has failed gloriously. What a challenge Bruno put up, but he's having to be helped back to his corner. Witherspoon got to him at last in the 11th round.
Oh, what a sad moment for poor Frank Bruno. Primarily, he put up such a tremendous battle. He was so good there all the way through that fight, and I thought so much that he was going to finish it strongly, the way he'd been fighting, and the man hit him with a couple of, lucky punches there in the 11th round. That's it. That's the experience. He got tired, you see, and as I said to you in the 8th round, it was a matter of whether Witherspoon's experience was going to beat Frank's fitness, and unfortunately, there's nothing can beat experience.
So let's have a look now at the way this tremendous championship battle finished, and it finished very suddenly when it happened. Bruno going in with a good attack, you see, catching his man, and always in this fight, Witherspoon was at his most dangerous when he was hurt, and suddenly he launched this furious swinging attack, and suddenly you could see the challenge of Bruno disappearing moment by moment. He tried to stay in close, he tried to push the man off, and Witherspoon sensed that the finish was at hand. That one almost floored Frank. The next one almost did again. And then it was inevitable that he would go, and he was finished at this point, and he was hit when he was down. And there's a case to be made that Witherspoon could have got into trouble with the referee from that. But he's the champion of the world, and nothing was said. But he could have been disqualified for hitting a man when he was on the floor. And hit him on the floor, he most certainly did. Just watch this, he's down now. One, and another one. Two, before he was waved away, and then it was stopped. So the challenge of Frank Bruno has ended. But what a blaze of glory he went down in. No one could be ashamed of what Bruno has done here at Wembley tonight. But that's the 12th British challenge this century for the World Heavyweight title. And Britain must go on waiting for a World Heavyweight champion. And it may be a very long wait now. Tim, congratulations. That was some fight.
Thank you.
What do you make of Frank Bruno now?
Great fighter. I think he should get a lot of fights in the States and get another title shot at somebody. Or maybe we get him a rematch here in London in the future.
How badly did he hurt you? At any time
He hurt me. He's a great fighter. I anticipated him to hurt me. He's a great fighter. It's just I'm a greater fighter, that's all.
What tipped it your way in the end? Because suddenly you got it. What tipped the fight your way in the end? What was the reason?
Determination and experience helped me come on and win the fight.
Here you are, here's the finish, Tim. Now tell us about this.
Well, he was, I see him stunned a little bit, and then I caught him. I knew he was hurt, so I moved him for the kill. Like I said, if I see daylight, I'm going for him. And there you go.
Yeah, okay. That was a tremendous finish you did there. Tim, we'll be glad to see you back sometime. I hope you come.
I love Britain, and I want to come back.
We'll be back soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Witherspoon had proved himself a worthy champion. Officially, the referee had stopped the fight to save Bruno from further punishment. And at the time, he was behind on the scorecards of all three judges, but not by very much. The walk back to the dressing room must have seemed like an eternity for Big Frank. Still at the ringside, his loved ones were left to console each other. For a star like Bruno, even in defeat, there's no hiding place.
And it was Frank's idea that you came in.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do, yeah, please.
Okay, gentlemen, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
2 hours after the fight and his valiant challenge, Frank left Wembley for the refuge of his home in Essex. The fans knew he'd given everything. Earlier today, his manager Terry Lawless had sufficiently recovered from the night's disappointment to talk with Harry Carpenter.
Terry, the Sunday papers tell a sad story, obviously, but there's a lot of praise for Frank among it, and the first question, of course, has got to be, how is he?
His heart's a bit sore, I think, as much as his body. He's very disappointed. He feels that he's let everybody down, but that's Frank. He's okay physically. He had a sore cheek, but he's okay.
Now, can I take you right back to the beginning? What was the game plan? What were the last orders you gave him when he came out for the fight?
The one that had given him the best advice was Hurricane Hadley. And he kept saying to him, keep him busy, make him think all the time, keep him busy with a jab and feint and kid, and not get involved in the close quarter work if you could help it. And Frank knew that and tried to do it, but being a proud man, he wanted to beat him at all departments and got involved a few times on the ropes, and that's where Witherspoon is an expert at doing nothing, taking a rest and then opening up himself. Because I suppose he wanted to prove he could beat him. Whatever he could do better.
But having said that, you see, in the early part of the fight, and even towards the end, there were moments when you looked at Frank and you thought, my God, he's going to do it, because, he fought better than I've ever seen him fight, and I assume that goes for you too.
Yeah.
There were moments when he genuinely looked like winning.
Well, I can't say I'm pleased. I was pleased the way he fought, because I think that Witherspoon is the best heavyweight in the world. I think he lacks perhaps a little bit of dedication, but he's one of those guys who's able to work, carrying a bit of weight and looking a bit out of shape, but he knows exactly what he's doing. It's all right working 3 minutes around if you're getting nowhere, but he'll work 30 seconds and then make those 30 seconds count. And he knows how to rest those other rounds. He's had the benefit of working with people like Holmes and Ali for years, and he's learned not to get hurt and how to protect himself.
How difficult is it going to be, do you think, for Frank to pick himself up from this and come again? Do you think he wants to come again?
Well, we had no time to talk about anything else. All I was concerned was with his welfare. We went, after we'd finished there, we went and had some x-rays done just to make sure he didn't have a crack on his jaw. And all I was concerned with was getting him home and to bed and just to see that he was okay. Whatever he wants to do, then, obviously we're all with him, and we'll just go along with whatever he wants to do.
Nothing to be ashamed of. It was the best challenge I've seen from a British heavyweight for the world title, by far.
Well, I've been bombarded all day with telephone calls with people saying how proud they were of him, little note through the door saying, don't quit, Frank, and all that sort of thing, which is quite touching.
Give him our best, will you?
Thank you.
Terry still visibly upset there. And incidentally, Bruno had phoned him this morning to see if his manager was all right. That's typical of the big man. Well, Don King, the American promoter, said today that Bruno could still be very much part of the eliminating series to unify the heavyweight title, but of course it remains to be seen what Bruno's plans will be. And we end on a sour note. Hooligans at the fight last